For the past 12 months, we have all been paying for each other's energy bills under Labor's rebate scheme, making it appear as though your power bills are cheaper. And we all wonder why suddenly they shoot up once those subsidies end. Well, sources have told Sky News Sunday Agenda that the subsidies are unlikely to continue into the future. And for more on that, we're joined by Director of Energy Research at the Centre for Independent Studies, Aidan Morrison. Aidan, thanks for coming on the program. The suggestion that these rebates are not going to continue is hardly surprising. It was never sustainable to have these rebates, on into the future ad nauseum, correct?
I think that's right. The government always hoped that they would be just a temporary fix, sort of a pre-election, sort of more or less sweetener to take people's minds off the pain that is going into the energy bills. So it's never meant to be continued. But the problem is the government also has no other way of promising how and why bills will come down. They're still shoveling money out through their subsidy schemes to try to get more renewable energy into the system. It drives up volatility. It does not push the average prices down. And the purpose of the scheme was always originally just to try to shield people who are paying bills from the full sense of how much the bills were meant to be, actually. So there is really nowhere for the government to go. Reality will hit our pockets, which is probably good because people need to realise what's actually happening with our energy system is just going to push bills up even further.
And it was always going to be a band-aid solution, and not to mention once those subsidies obviously start petering out, also has an impact on the economy through inflation, and
exactly
the
right.
government's been spending like crazy. So, again, not surprising. Now, look, Aidan, Chris Bowen has been demonising gas for the last 4 years. We're sitting on such an abundance. And interesting, Labor's now considering a forced East Coast gas reserve. You recall that that was something that was put to voters by the former opposition leader Peter Dutton just before the election, and he was ridiculed by Labor for it. But here we go, Labor's doing a copy and paste. How long would it take to get something like that off the ground, do you think?
Look, I think it probably could be something you do relatively quickly, but the big question is there any gas that you can reserve? Because you always come with this caveat that you won't cause any disruption to these major export contracts that our whole East Coast gas system, certainly for the Queensland part, a lot of that was built on these huge export contracts where the Koreans and the Japanese and others have done what we can't do, which is commit to buying a lot in bulk, long term. That's how you get low prices. And the Australian government, back when those deals were signed, didn't want to be part of it. They didn't want to commit to buying long-term gas at low prices for Australians. So now the big question will be is how much is left actually? How much spare stuff? And does it make sense? Does it really move the needle much to lock up that amount of gas in Australia? It might help a bit. It could be relatively fast, but there could also be downside consequences if it means that it makes it harder for other companies that want to be able to explore more and produce more to worry about what happens if they can't sell it to the highest bidder.
All right, I want to ask you about wind turbines because there's some problems. Where do we start?
Where do we start?
There's some Chinese-built turbines at a wind farm in Tasmania. They've found asbestos in these turbines. The hazardous material found in brake pads, in the tower lifts at the Castle Hill wind farm. Now, this same Chinese company, I believe, has provided turbines in New South Wales, in Queensland and in Victoria. How big a problem is this? And at the moment, it's just in Tasmania. Is this likely to become a national problem?
I think the word on the street that it's pretty likely that there is a lot more of those types of brake pads all around the country in these types of turbines. It is just it's a brake pad in the lift, the elevator shaft, as you say. How dangerous it is, I don't want to be too alarmist about that. Other countries, we had asbestos in lots of places we shouldn't have, so I don't think it's a huge public danger. But it does make you ask this question. If we didn't know about that in one particular place, and we're finding out now, it really shows you that we've just imported and assembled a whole bunch of stuff that should have been, part of it was illegal to import. This asbestos was illegal to import. What else is there in this prefabricated sort of kits that we're importing here in our energy system that we don't really fully know about? So we're totally dependent on this stuff if we continue down the current pathway and we're just building it, installing it, realising years later that there's a problem and it is probably widespread.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if asbestos might be the least of our problems in some of the stuff we're importing from China.
Look, what else? More surprises in the renewables only rollout. It's terrific.